Welcome to the Grown Up Group. My name is Ty. I am joined here by Kira, Victor, and Jazz. This is a podcast
Oh,
by regular people tackling the world from a Black perspective. Today, we will be discussing, can Black artists no longer sell healthy relationships, commitment, and love through their music? Thoughts?
can I go first?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah and no. We uh we have music out here that's kind of catered to love and stuff like that. But it's very rare. It doesn't get put in the radio. It does not get put in the radio, and it's kind of hard to even find. Like if I go on YouTube, I gotta like I discover a lot of artists like that on YouTube. Like by mistake, like oh my god, it's so good. Or on Instagram or something like that. It's never like played on mainstream radio. It's not. Because if you ain't popping your poontang and you ain't so have somebody SOD, it's not gonna get played. It's not gonna get played. So it's terrible. Like it's really terrible. I know I'm getting to an age where like my parents were, they were like that music is terrible. How you listen to that? I'm getting to that age is like I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear this little girl to my her cootie cat is pink and her booty hole is brown. Little musty cootie. So I don't want. I'm done.
Musty Cootie.
And don't know what a vulva is. I can't.
Swear to God, like girl, I was about to have a whole baby. Like your labia
Look, we
minora
need to,
and labia motherfucker, what do you call it, majora, all that shit about to be toe up. Just know that. You about to have a baby, it's about to be
we,
all toe up. Just like
we,
it's just goofy. It's at this point it's a joke. And they're like, oh Lil Kim
But
and Foxy and them, I said they never had a baby on our watch. They did not. They had it after they got older. You never caught them pregnant. You never caught Trina pregnant. None of them was pregnant.
yeah.
Y'all goofy. You got your whole stomach cut out, shaking what your mother gave you. Like, little bitch, please. Like, I cannot stand them. They irritate my nerve. Like, oh, Kimmy and Foxy them they had class with theirs. They were classy hoes. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I do.
we
I
need to
agree.
have t-shirts called Musty Cootie and Classy Hoes. We need to put
Right.
that. We need to put those are the first two t-shirts we need to have in our fucking gear store. Oh my god.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they're gonna be from Louisiana. I'm sorry, the group gonna come straight from Louisiana, straight like that. Hot,
Yeah,
Okay.
hot,
yeah.
dropping album. Hot.
Okay.
El Caliente.
I,
I mean, hey, like I would push back on the idea that we don't have any positive sounding artists. I literally truly believe it's in this day and age, it's a la carte. It's what you want. If you want a very positive sort of sounding music, you can find it. Yeah, you have to dig through some trash, but there are diamonds in the rough, and the beautiful part is that they don't have to go through mainstream media. I mean, the radio has been, monetized to the point where you're not going to get a lot of, you know, underground artists being played on mainstream radio because they're no longer selling it to the people who are the core audience of hip hop, quote unquote, or pop
Mhm.
or R&B. It's about selling particular images. And the sad part is that a lot of real positive R&B is done by non-black people, and that really kind of messes with me because you hear
Mm.
a lot of you hear a lot of mainstream black artists, and their music, not to sound like the old fogey, but it's relatively vulgar. They're trying to sound like the rappers, and that kind of messes it up because
hmm
even the rappers should sound a lot more positive, or at least at a time where they had a lot more positive music and some of their negativity. So now we come into a situation where the R&B music is not as clean as it used to be. But there are a lot of artists that you can find. You just kind of have to dig through it. Those are my thoughts.
Right. Um, sex sells. That's first
Right.
off. So we hearing it all day, every day, all the music. But do they follow through what they're saying? So they're totally different people outside of what they're saying. And a
Right.
lot of them will tell you, we talk like this, we rap like this because this what we want. A lot of them haven't even experienced what they saying.
Mhm.
And like Jazz said, they don't even know what a vulva is or whatever. Your coochie and all of that stuff. They don't even know or whatever. So I just go with sex sells, and that's what's selling right now. I can either turn it off because I don't want to hear it. It's too much for my virgin ears.
Yes, like
Whatever.
what?
It is too much for my virgin ears. My ears cannot take it. That's just too much sex.
Right, and then it's like
I mean, of course, sex is a part of life, but Jesus Christ, I'm not going to be like, go to my man and be like, you know what? Yeah, you want to see my booty hole? Yeah,
like
it's
what?
brown. Yeah, you want me to throw it on you like that? So I'm not. That's not going to make me fall in love or whatever. And even like Vic said, even with the R&B, it's starting to sound like rap. So they said, you singing, oh, my booty hole is dancing the R&B song.
Oh, we need another shirt like that. R&B songs.
That's not gonna put me in the mood. It's not gonna put me in the mood with my man or whatever. So I can't get with it. I can't. I mean, the beats be nice. I ain't gonna even hold you to it. I ain't gonna even lie. I do be jamming to some of it,
right,
in the privacy of my own home,
right,
or whatever.
right.
But yeah, that's not going.
No, it's half the battle.
Exactly. That's not putting me in the mood. Whatever. It's not ruffling my feathers when I want downtime or whatever, and I want to take a little glass of wine and like, oh, you heard this new artist? Yeah. Put it on there. I'm like, ooh. Yeah. You can put on Blue Magic for me. I'm good.
I swear to God. Like what?
I'll stick to my stylistics and them like that.
Right.
So no Suki Hana for you in the late night, huh?
No Suki. No
oh
Suki
my
with
God.
the
When I tell you,
with the good coochie for me.
With the outside, somebody put their mouth on her badge outside at
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like this
I tell you, it irritate me.
It's a lot.
It's way too much of a lot.
Yeah. I want to give my perspective on it because it's a mouthful. I believe that there's Black positive artists out there. I know Tamia exists. I know Beyonce exists. I know Kehlani exists. I know Tiana Taylor exists. I know Alyssa Cara exists. There's so many different positive Black versions of music. You know what happens? It doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. It's not mainstream. So unfortunately, you know, the Adeles, the Sam Smith, the, you know, people like Dua Lipa, whatever her name is, she sells. It's pop music. Pop music is really taking over a version of R&B, just put a fast beat to it. You see it on Beyonce's new album, how she put everything as a fast song, nothing's a ballad, because the positivity sells instead of, you know, we also want to mention my girl Lizzo, because, you know, even though she may be in a negative light right now, there's still some positivity about her being a plus size woman with a positive attitude, even though she may not treat others that way or whatever the case may be.
That was wrong,
but it doesn't sell when it's a Black artist. And it's crazy because it should sell, but we as Black citizens do not support it. And I think that's what the takeaway is, right? So I will download a Meg Thee Stallion song in a heartbeat. I will download a Cardi B track.
I like them, yeah.
That's my girl.
I will download an Ice Spice song in a heartbeat. I will download a Doja Cat song, hate to say it, in a heartbeat. I even listen to Taylor Swift. I listen to all variations of artists and music simply because, you ready? That's what gets the most views. You want a TikTok, you want Instagram, you want any of those things, that's immediately the songs that you hear. I can't get Agora Hill out of my head. Kissing and Love You. Yes. All of it just play on repeat in your head. And it's like an algorithm. And I think you mentioned this before, Victor, in your previous podcast, where you said it's designed. So when you don't scroll and you watch that video one time, and every damn song I hear is one of those artists blasting their songs to me in a reel, on a video, on anything that I watch on my social media apps. And I'm like, okay, enough. So then I will turn that off and I will put on my iTunes or on my Apple Music or somewhere or on anything, Amazon Music, I don't care. I got to put on my Black artists. I got to put on, my Tamia, even though she's old school, Monica, Brandy. I'm going to listen to those songs and I'm going to rotate them. But how often do I hear them on the radio? Not at all.
No.
Exactly. It's the same rotation of these songs. And that's what, for me personally, that's what makes me not want to listen to it, because especially when I'm listening to the radio, I'm listening to the same song every other song. So I'm not interested in it no more. I don't want to hear it no more. Enough is enough, and it's driving me crazy or whatever. Like, I don't want to hear Ice Spice and then Beyonce, then Ice Spice, and then Lizzo, then Ice Spice. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, come on.
Heavy rotation.
Is that heavy rotation?
And any of them.
What you nailed on the head, Ty, was that, a lot of these artists aren't getting mainstream play, which is, let's be frank and honest, right? There are 3 demographics that buy Black music. It's white women, white men, and Latino people. Those are the top 3 demographics that buy Black music. So the idea of debauchery in terms of what they want to listen to, with that is what they want to hear. There's not going to be another Public Enemy, and if there is, they probably have maybe 70,000 followers on YouTube. They're not the Key Glock. You know what I mean? So you're not going to see that from these demographics that want that. Because television's not going to sell that. There'll be, there's no more Do the Right Thing movies. They'll automatically label that super Black, and even Black people don't want something like that. They don't want something super Black. They want something that everybody else can enjoy, so that they can enjoy it with their non-Black friends and not feel like racist. I mean, so that's where you get a lot of that from. But there's still positive music. It's such an a la carte industry nowadays that it's up to the consumer to want to support what they like.
Right.
If you're not finding positive music, because you're not searching it out.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to, at least for me. Is that if you want that sort of, pro-Black love vibe, you have to find those sort of artists. Because they're not going to just be given to you. So that's what it comes down to for me.
I left out Jasmine Sullivan. So I do want to say, I love Jasmine Sullivan. She sings some great sultry music. She has a beautiful voice as well. There's so many different artists. I'm sorry.
Is that the same one I was talking about, breaking somebody's car window?
Yeah, that's not a positive one, but that's one song out of the whole album. You can't necessarily just pinpoint on one negative song.
Right.
But sometimes you do gotta bust the window out of a nigga's car. I'm done. So
right.
Sometimes you got to. Okay.
That sounds like I should call law enforcement.
Do what you gotta do. They gotta catch me outside. How about that?
Right, call them. Right.
I mean, look, it's better
to catch me first. Right in the act. Sorry.
Right.
But back to the subject at hand. I think that there's a lot of artists that's owed their dues. And then unfortunately, because of those parties that own record companies that sit in those seats, executive seats, they don't look like us. So they will pick what they feel is the most popular or what will get more sales. And unfortunately, they target those artists to make sure that they do the brand music that they want. So while we have artists that do have positive Black music, and I never forget, I used to love a song. It was actually my theme song in my head, and I don't know why. Just because he had so much positive words. And his name was Aloe Black. Have you guys ever heard of Aloe Black?
Yeah.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. I don't know I'm not a man. But he has so much, and when he sung it, you felt it, like you got that energy, like, I'm the man, and when I listened to that song, I used to always be like, that's my theme song. I'm gonna walk into and I'm like, I gotta put the pants on. I gotta make sure I get through this or whatever. So that positive energy, sometimes it just exudes, but why would they want to keep us positive?
Exactly.
Right.
Why would they want us to have that energy or absorb that positive content
They want us to
everything
be seen in a
rap
bad
song, a
light.
bitch, a hoe, a freak, you are this and you are that, and all of this content and all these play on words, and all these strippers dancing in the background of the video, and all this money and
Yeah.
all this gold and all this drinking, and it's like that's not the reality of how those people really live. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's not how
Exactly.
black artists really live. It was
Right.
just kind of crazy to me that this is what they want to sell, because this is what they want the image of us to really be. They don't
Right.
Right.
want people to know that we could be reserved and cool and calm and collected. So that goes over those white, sorry, majorities that buy our music and then say, oh, what do we feel is valuable? Because that's who gets to choose. So they pick this 21 Savage, the Drake. They pick that. I'll never forget. I was sitting in a job and I hear a young kid going on and on about some song. And I'm like, that song has no content and no context at all. Like it gives nothing but bitches, hoes, money, and go out
Yep.
here and sell drugs.
Right.
And you think that,
Right.
and it
And
was
half the
Future. It
time
was
they ain't
Future.
doing
I'm sorry. And I thought to myself, I said, so don't involve yourself in this conversation. It's not my era of music. One, it's not my age group. But hopefully one day this kid grow up, white kid, and be like, why was I listening to
it.
that mess? You
Right.
never know. But
Well,
that's what really sells. And that's who they're selling the music to. They're not looking at
Yep.
us to say, what does Ty or Jazz, Kira, and Vic want to listen to? They don't. They
Right.
don't care
Right.
about what we want to listen to. They want to sell it to the demographic that's purchasing music and downloading it. I'm not clicking on
Right.
the Apple's, iTunes, anything and purchasing it. I'm gonna download it for free because it comes with my subscription.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna go purchase that and stream. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna give
Right.
that effort. But no, I know the positive artists that I want to listen to. I know that I select and get to choose the music that I want to hear.
but
And I'm
think
not gonna
about it
let an
like
exec choose
this.
that for me. Go ahead.
Think about it like this: like, if you're not going to spend the money for those artists, why would those labels promote those artists?
Exactly. That's
So
true.
if you're not going to pay the, what I mean, absorbent fee to download their album, the label's like, oh well, you are, you're not doing it. You're
Right.
not getting it. So you're going to do whatever music you want to do, and you'll be relegated to less spins in the algorithm because the people are not paying for it.
Mhm.
And I don't like to disparage the new music today, especially when all of us grew up with the song "Quote Unquote." Throw your guns in the air, pop like you just don't care.
That's poetic. That's very poetic.
It is.
And we all dance to it. So let's not act,
But that's
sanctimonious.
that's my point too. But
True. Very
we didn't actually
true.
really go out and do that. Like we was like our generation definitely was like that, but we didn't really would do that. Them kids like they listen to that song right now and literally go out and do just that because they call it
Yeah.
never music.
Yeah.
They like
Yeah.
somebody said they play this in the club, it's killing music. Somebody said if you stood in the middle of a club, listen to this music all night, and you wonder why they go outside and fight each other outside after the club. They
Do
they
you
they,
not,
they,
I'm gonna say, do you not remember "Wow for the Night"?
yeah,
Yeah. And you know why you say songs like that, but then we had other songs like Busta Rhyme, Put Your Hands Where Your Eyes Can See. We had so
right,
many songs that was positive still, even though we had the choice to listen to the bad, we had the choice to listen to the good.
It's to the
The
good.
songs that was in the clubs and that was in the mainstream, those were the good ones. Like those were some bangers. You didn't get a lot of airplay on those songs because half of the lyrics would have to be blurred out.
right,
So
Right.
that wasn't airplay. Like to us, you play the mainstream songs. At least we got the airplay for Busta and Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul. And we heard that. Like we heard those songs on the air. Those were the times where we were like, okay, we could absorb that positivity from those artists, where you don't even get a chance today to listen
But
to positive artists because that
nope,
they're not interested in pushing
well,
that
Right.
music.
let's be honest, right? The culture moves through black women. Black men, male artists make music that women want to hear. We have long since stopped making music that we want to hear. Fight the Power was a song made for black men to galvanize themselves. Groups like X-Land were making songs to galvanize black men. When we start getting into, uh, NWA and things of that nature, they're making music for the women. We get to the shiny suit era, quote unquote. That is music made for women. So the women are flocking to this music. the men will follow behind. You know, if the
You know, you
ladies are
say
not
that,
interested,
you say that, but anybody in a shiny suit never appealed to me. You know, Puffy, Diddy, I don't care what he call himself, Brotherly Love, I don't care. Like, you know,
Right.
him and Mason, them shiny suits did nothing for me. I would hear that come on and I would be like, click, like, you know, and I immediately like the appeal, like, you know, I didn't take that music as positive. I took that music as some noise on the TV. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I would be like, oh, they just doing the most.com. Nobody needs to see that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like sometimes I would be just dismissive because I know that's what they're selling. They selling like, oh, I live this glamorous life, pop bottles, and I'm like, that's not reality. That's not reality.
Right.
Stop, click, click, click. I'm a realist. I can never join that type of atmosphere and be okay with it because I know that's a lie. I know they're going back to their apartments in Brooklyn and Harlem. So I know at the
Right.
time like that they were doing that. They weren't really living that life. Those cars were leased, that jewelry was borrowed on loan.
Was
Like you know what I
leased.
mean? Maybe it was in their contract.
That was
that,
ginger
that,
ale,
And they
right?
had to pay
that
that back.
further
Like
brings,
I know the
yeah,
The
reality
fake
of the music.
money.
yeah, that
Yeah.
further brings me to two problems with black music entirely, right? Because you know, the first thing is that you know, yeah, while you may not have been interested in it, they still sold 3 million records.
Facts.
So somebody was buying it, and while I do know the majority of that are non-black people, there's only but so many non-black people going to black clubs to where they're actually making their money. The label makes their money off of the music. These artists at that time were making their money off performances, and there was never a time where someone like Mace would have an empty crowd. Or Naughty by Nature, Onyx, or Das Effects, or Ice Cube, or Big, or Pac, or Snoop, or insert whoever you want, insert whoever gangster drug dealer rapper you want.
Mhm.
They did not have empty crowds.
Yeah.
Nope.
You know, there was no empty venues when they performed. It's
Mhm.
primarily filled with women.
Yeah.
So somebody's pushing the culture. And the men are just following by.
Mhm.
Because if the women are interested, that interests the men. If the women were interested, if the women were interested more in Public Enemy, then there will be more Public Enemies. There'll be more Tribe Called Quest. There'll be less Biggies. But that's
But
where they
also,
come down to. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
like, and it goes back to LL. He made music for women eventually. You know,
And
eventually over
ladies
Exactly.
time,
love
it was
Cool
like, yeah,
James.
Yeah.
right. And he did very well doing that. Excellent doing that. He was excellent at doing it.
I
Exactly.
need love.
The
What?
whole
I need
And I don't
love.
even
That
think that I heard him ever disrespect the female in those songs. I can't name a song.
no.
I
no
cannot name a
bitches and
song.
hoes in his music.
That and I really didn't hear him curse too much. Really,
Nope.
not really, not too much.
No.
Those
Yeah.
early 80s rappers really didn't curse like that because cursing on a record was a no-no.
Right,
Correct.
right, right,
Parental
right.
guidelines was in place afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't really hear a lot of heavy cursing until 2 Live Crew
And
and
I
NWA.
about it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Then you started hearing a
No
lot
Uncle
of
Luke and
heavy
comment.
them,
cursing.
Uncle Luke
No
and them a different
comment.
story.
Yeah.
Luke
My
was
bad.
nasty.
Mhm.
Luke was just nasty.
It's different.
Somebody was going to the shows. Non-black people were buying the music. Someone was going to the shows, and the shows were filled with women, so the men followed behind.
Yeah.
And the artists that
So
came after that figured, hey, well, this is how we get the women and we get the money. Let's continue to do so.
Right.
so then I have a question. How do we change that? How do we change the Black artists with positive music getting heard? I have an artist that I love. I fell in love with her the first time I saw her. She was doing a mid-live performance, like no lie, just random day on a Wednesday in front of Penn Station. And I was walking by and I heard the voice and I said, let me go circle back and, and I put it on my, on the iPhone, you got to listen, some sound, find the song
Yeah.
type of
Uh-huh.
thing. What is it called? Shazam?
Yeah.
Shazam app. Clicked on it, clicked that button, and sure enough, no, they found her, and it was Orion's son. And I was like, she's sitting there playing her own guitar and her own little music box thing that she hitting, and a mic in her hand, and she is singing a song. And I'm like, oh my God, such good music, so much positivity. I've never heard of her before. How do we get artists that actually have that message heard? How do we
It,
change that?
I don't
it,
know. It's hard. I don't know.
mm,
It's like somebody have to like really start going to their TikToks and their on their social media and actually playing them. That's how you get traction,
And
how to get plays. because then it's gonna be kind of hard because you got to get everybody bang for actually playing the songs in the background or whatever. But a lot of times you find people on TikTok or whatever you find them at, but sometimes you got to play their music or even go on your social media and be like, oh, this person I'm listening to. You got to like, because other than that, I really can't say how, because I'm not, in the business, like, oh, this is how you do it. You actually have to pay people to actually spin these records. They're not going to play them anyway. They're not even going to want the money to even play these records.
Right.
But I discovered quite a few people, like, oh my God, Daly.
Daly,
I love Daly.
I do too.
Freaking what's her name? Michaela Janae.
Oh,
People know about her.
Another good
I love
one.
her.
Yeah.
Lucky Day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Lucky Day. He's actually mainstream. He had a song that was on TikTok, and I was like, oh, that got in my head, and I was like, him and Tim's. So I'm like, even
them kind of people. Their
him
music
and
is
Tim's.
so good. Their music is so good. It's like,
It's
how
so
do y'all
good.
not hear this? How do you don't see it?
Yeah.
It's so much music that I'm discovering. Like, but if it, I don't know. No, like I don't know.
The part that hurts me, I think a lot of those positive artists like Lucky Day, Orion Sun, Tim's, they're on independent labels. And when you're on the independent labels, your music is sold and given to you directly. So the label doesn't kind of own the rights to it. And I think that they were smart in that approach, but also the bad part of it is it doesn't get as much marketing as it should. So they would rely on their fan base to really do the marketing for them. I think I posted her song, one of those 2 artist songs up there, like on my different, social media platforms. And if they don't get the clicks and likes because it's not, a popular song, it doesn't fall into an algorithm. So the unfortunate part of it is like, unless you're a mainstream artist and a mainstream song, it doesn't really get the respect that it really deserves. And it's really hard to sell somebody your perspective of music because we think it's good and we think it's positive. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go download that. It's just crazy. It's
but
just
I heard
crazy.
some stuff at too. I heard it. The girl, the artist, Michaela Janae, heard her on Insecure.
Yeah.
I heard song on Insecure.
Yeah. She is on Insecure.
And then I heard another one, Kevin Ross. He's good. He's really good.
Yeah.
But you hear on these movies like that, it catch you. So you're gonna have to start putting the people inside maybe movies and stuff like that. Like, and it's gonna have to be something. That's how a lot of people get discovered now. Like, like that. Other than that, I go on YouTube. It's like they're having millions of views and thousands of and comments, but nobody is actually playing in mainstream.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Carol. My bad.
Oh no! I was just gonna say that's how I get a lot of my music when I'm scrolling through social media and I hear a song and I'm like, oh, okay, who is this? That sounds good. That sounds nice. I go look up the name or whatever and things like that. Coco Jones, I love that song.
Coco Jones, I See You.
Yes, I See You. Oh my goodness, I heard that one time.
She's a very beautiful artist. She's she has a very great album too, surprisingly.
Right. So that's all I could think of.
She got her clothes on, but you know what? I'm gonna cut you off. What's the little girl's name? Did the Little Mermaid? The black girl.
It's Haley Bailey.
Haley Bailey, right. Now, mind you, remember they were little girls and nobody was giving no attention. They would call them ugly, right? It wasn't this, wasn't that. As soon as girls started singing and got naked, they got played.
Yeah, that's the Chloe Bailey. Chloe Bailey said it. But she took a page from Beyonce's book, she said it. She said she brought me on. I'm on her label. This is what I got to do. So immediately, Beyonce never promoted Chloe Bailey's album, but it gets a lot of play and publicity because sex sells. Like Kira said. Kira made that statement early, and I was like, hello, she is a walking epitome of that statement. She has a tight dress on. She got curves now. She grew into her body. She's now mature and dreads the weave because she will throw a weave over those dreads to make herself more sexually appealing to both demographics. So you look at the other races now, they see her too, and they're rubbing their hands together and claws her out. You know what I mean? The fangs. Because they're looking at her and they're like, oh, maybe I could get the opportunity. So you look at things like that, and I'm like, really, what is she selling? It's not her album. It's her appearance.
Right.
And that's what they want to download to get to her, get closer.
Yeah. From what I understand, her album didn't do very well.
You know what? Because it didn't get the marketing and publicity, but if you listen to it, it's a pretty great album. I was actually surprised that it didn't get as much play as it should. And I think only because she didn't get the marketing, the support behind her marketing team. When you have a mainstream, and I think also Beyonce album came out like 3 weeks before. I think that's sabotage to somebody that's on your label. You think about that. You know,
Exactly.
we was
That's
so
wrong.
busy
That's
singing
wrong.
about one
Not the
artist
first time she
song.
did that.
Because you
Yep,
know what? That
exactly.
sometimes they might see you as competition. You might be that good, you might be competition
Yeah,
for
I was
them.
about to say, yeah, I can't let you be as successful as me. I'm gonna keep you in your place underneath me. And
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
that's this whole strategy behind it. Maybe she do fair or farewell if she came up off of their label and do an
Right.
independent label or do
Right.
or do another, label outside of somebody that put you on or felt that they put you on and now you owe them something. We already know that about Beyonce though. She's done that to several
Right.
artists. If I
So
Was a Boy, that's
Yeah.
somebody else's song. You know, you look at her music, or if you search her, how many lawsuits she's had over stealing somebody else's song, lyric, or
song.
video style or music
Right.
Yeah.
choreography.
Right.
She has a history of it. So nothing surprises me there. But I'm concerned about our positive, Black artists, right?
Yeah.
I have DSVN that I listen to, right? And I think he has a song that's like I forgot the name of Hypnotic or something it is. And it's like talking about how he's falling in love with somebody so badly. Like, he can't get them out of their head. And there's like, their conversations and their words and
Oh, you
everything
talking
is
about
on replay.
division.
Division. There you are. DSEVN.
I was about to say,
DSVN.
I was about to say that.
Division.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he has that song where he's speaking, he's talking about, how much he's in love with a female and how much, that positive love. Why would they want us to know about positive love? All
They
it
Right.
is
don't.
Because
toxicity. They shove that down our throats so much. We're all bitches and hoes and we don't deserve
right.
it. And it's all,
I,
stripper poles for us.
Right.
I think a lot of what's happening here is a lot of old school thinking. Like we're what I mean, we're thinking about if it's getting played on the radio, and these newer artists, they don't need the radio.
Mhm.
No.
Yes, you're an independent artist, right? And you got like 200,000 followers. You don't need a label. They're not going to promote your music any better. All you have to do is release your album, and if you get 20,000 downloads,
Mhm.
you're doing a lot better than financially than someone
Yeah.
who is not going to a label who needs 100. You're doing better than Nicki Minaj. If you get 50,000 downloads and Nicki Minaj gets 119, you're technically doing better than Nicki Minaj. She has a
Yeah.
higher overhead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
I mean, it's not really like the way that we used to look at it that works anymore. Yeah, I mean, when we go on, iHeartRadio and all that, we get the constant rotation of their artists
Mm-hmm.
in that machine. It's so oblivious, so what I mean, like oblivious that you kind of don't realize that all these people are kind of connected to a degree, and the artists that you really like, those who are actually preaching, positivity, if they've got, like I said, 100,000, 150,000 subscribers on YouTube, they're doing a lot better than most artists would back in the day.
Yeah.
So this thing of being independent actually works in your favor because what a lot of these labels will try to sign you to is a 360 deal, which is your
Oh
name,
no.
image, likeness, merchandise, show money. They need all of it because they can't just settle on you spending $19 to download something anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The internet has ruined music in terms of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Does
So
that
why
fix
would
our problem? Does that fix
huh?
the problem of positive music being out there and getting out there more
I
often
think
than the
if,
negative music?
I think if you want to get out a positive message, it needs to be a multi-pronged attack, right? It can't just be that the artist puts out beautiful, positive music. The people who are subscribed to said artists need to do their part, and they need to continue to promote that with their visuals, with their retweets, with their stitches and their duets. They need to continue to promote that, and that way that artist can grow, and that artist needs to stay the course and not fall into the trappings of of very quick, advances where these labels can offer you $3 million, which is hard to say no to. When he like, listen, I'll give you an advance. The deal will be $14 million. I'll give you $3 million right now. We'll spend the other $11 million making your next 5 albums.
Mm.
That contractual agreement, that's how Diddy get them all the time. So, and that's what I say. I say it's, something about the music industry, I really think is like, evil, simply because what popular sells, right? So I could tell, a artist that I, hear one song that may be a hit, a hit, what they consider a hit. I could tell that one, they could take that one artist, put them under contract, and then say, you're mine for the next 10 years. That's so unfair. That's so unfair to take someone. That's like a form of slavery to me. And I say, it's modern day slavery when you have a contractual agreement. I never sign anything. I never put my signature on anything that I'm 100% is a piece of paper handed to me with some paragraphs that don't make sense to me. They know the common man can't read that and understand it. And it's so crazy. They throw money at these artists just in hopes that they sign on the dotted line. Lil Wayne, he said it to him. He was 11 years old, actually signing a contract. Chris Brown too went through that when he actually told the artist he turned down. I mean, the record label, he told them, you have to speak to my mother. And when he said, I have to say, no, we don't have to talk to your mother. I'm telling you, this is me and your conversation. He's a 12-year-old kid. Why are you talking to a 12-year-old kid about a contract?
Right, because you're throwing money at him.
Not the best interest for him. Absolutely not. You have to bring this to my mother. And do you know he pulled out that deal simply because the guy would not get on the phone with his mother and explain the contract to him. And I said that was the smartest business decision ever. They would have had him as, a slave to the age of 35. Yep. You know what I mean? They would have owned him from 12 to 35. So I look at things like that and stories like that, and I'm like, that's entrapment. That's how they get them caught into a snare, and then they can't find their way out of it legally. And you see all of these artists, they just backed out of the industry, and they're like, living in, some home, and whatever they were able to put their scrapings to do to survive and live from, year to year. It's kind of sad that those are the stories and how they fall to the wayside so quickly when they can't find those deals, and those deals fall through. Like, I honestly want to say the answer is the independent labels. I want to say, take your music and sell it yourself. I used to see artists do that back in the day. They would open a trunk and they sell their CDs.
Got their CDs in the back.
You probably be better faring off that way versus you actually, maybe downloadable content now. But you know what I mean? But you would you would fare better that way versus going to a mainstream, record label and say, hey, this is my album. Please give me a contract, because you never know what you're setting yourself up for years to come.
Those older artists who used to sell out in songs like the E40s, Too Shorts,
yes,
the Plans, the Rock Chems, and they used to sell out of their trunk because that is what would get you noticed by a label. When you can, when you can master P your way through, you can sell 1 million copies in your state. That is what got those labels on it. Now, thanks to the internet, which has democratized everything, you really don't need a label. If anything, if you're smart, the most you need a label for is promotion.
Yeah.
So you would pay, for that to be a promotion so that you can start getting inroads to other sort of things. But your mainstream artists, your Ice Spices, your Cardi B's, things of that nature, I'm pretty sure they have signed some form of a 360 deal, because that would allow them to reach broader into mainstream media, which is, why you get an Ice Spice with a Ben Affleck in a Dunkin's commercial?
That made no sense to me, but I get it.
No, it was a marketing strategy.
It was so corny. The way he pulled it off was so corny. He was like, y'all put this together, this is what we got? Wow.
Yeah, that was the point. It's supposed to be that he's some out-of-touch 55-year-old white man, and she's some young, hip 21-year-old black girl.
It wasn't even executed right. It wasn't even executed right at all. I was like, oh my God, okay.
Yeah, that was
you got to do this labeling right. You got to do this name of this production right, this promotion right. It's Dunkin'. Yeah. You serious?
That was the whole point of the promotion. It was supposed to be awkward because they were coming from two different worlds.
Yeah.
And that's been rich since 1994. Ice Spice is due to being rich, and they're doing a Dunkin' commercial. He has no idea what rap music is. That man is almost 60.
And he don't care once that commercial is over.
Right. He don't care. He's going to have something to talk about later on with his friends.
Once that commercial over, he ain't caring.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was like, I did this thing with this black girl.
Right. That's why I think him and J-Lo had beef the next day at the award show. I'm just saying.
Oh, I didn't know that.
J-Lo. She was like, what? You was with Ice Spice. And what did you do? Like,
Girl, she better not
You know,
have.
she's very competitive. J-Lo is very competitive, if you guys didn't know
That's my
that. But
girl. I ain't
they,
gonna talk bad about it. That's my girl. I
Yeah.
ain't gonna talk bad about it. Cause girl, what?
yeah.
J-Lo is all about her money, and she will use whatever man she needs to get it.
Facts.
Listen, I ain't gonna say nothing because eventually one day we're gonna be famous. We're gonna be famous. I'm not
We're
even
gonna
gonna
be
say nothing
famous
to
one
my
day.
toes because
Yes.
Lord, they're gonna come back and look at this video like, oh, you said this about J-Lo? I love her, but
Right.
I
I
got some
said
stuff to
it,
say about her.
and
Yeah,
I got stuff to say about her.
I'm like, let's go through the list.
I got some stuff to say
Diddy,
about her because girl,
Ben Affleck, Alex Rodriguez, Ben Affleck,
Diddy,
Julio Iglesias. I mean,
Diddy,
yeah, I said Diddy. Yeah, Diddy
Diddy.
was the first one.
She
You
abandoned
know,
his ass as soon as he went to court.
Mark Anthony,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mark
Mark
Anthony, her
Anthony.
husband,
Mark
Yeah,
Anthony. The
I'm gonna
dancer,
be on.
Chris, whatever, Judd, whatever his
I'm about
name
to
the
say
was.
one of
background
her
dancer.
own
That was
background
a smart move.
dancers.
She
The
had two
background
backup
dancer.
dancers, actually.
I would say that is the one that she actually really loved because she had way more money than him. So
Mm-hmm.
that was what I would say she loved. The rest of them, she was using them for whatever she can get out the situation to build her brand.
Right.
What about her first husband? He was also a backup dancer, and they were like 19 when they got married.
Yeah, and how many children did
None. So
they
let's
have?
go back to our artists, our Black artists that can no longer sell, healthy relationship and commitment. Who would you love to hear, that positive music from?
Everybody, if I
That's been
could.
a lot of
Somebody
artists,
can make an
but which
album.
one?
Somebody can
It's a
make an
lot.
album.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like it's a
I'm
lot. Like I wish everybody could have a little hand in, giving us some positivity. Somebody.
I left a lot of Black men out of that. So we got our Chris Brown, we got our Usher, we got like so many different Black males.
Chris Brown.
Yeah. Chris
His music
Brown.
now is now I can't say now. He has his issue with his music. Like he makes some good music, but then again, he makes some crazy music. You gotta hear how he talk about women. Like you gotta really listen to the stuff he be saying and who he is too. Who he is.
A part of me get it because he's still coming from a place where he's been scorned. And I think we're all like that when we've been hurt. Like, right? I think he truly loved Rihanna. He didn't know what to do with it because he was too young.
right.
Always believe that when you're in a young situation, you're not mature enough to handle it or deal with it, and you lose it. You don't know how to get that back. Now he's seeing her move on. ASAP Rocky.
You do realize I was like 18 when that happened, right?
I know, but that's exactly, he can't get out of there. Sometimes you're stuck in that situation,
And nobody
especially when
was telling him to get
experience is so
therapy or
young.
help. They just
experience it
laughing,
so
like
young.
make a diss track and they laughing at it. They're not even trying to help him because they don't care.
Yeah.
He ended up on drugs and stuff just happening. It's a whole little mess over there. It's a whole mess. He needs some help though. He needs some help because he needs some help. I'm gonna say that.
I
I
would
love him,
say
but
Chris Brown does need some sort of mentorship, but like
around him,
that Rihanna thing was so long ago. That's like still feeling for your high school crush. You gotta let. Like, I
but
don't think
if it's your first real love, it's hard. It's hard to get over.
That first
It's like
real
somebody
love
that
is
I say
hard.
therapy. He's gonna need type of therapy to get over it, probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
not really. I mean, at that age, it's really not that hard. You just have to grow up.
But nobody not teaching him. They just helping him out with drugs. Like here, take this, take that. They just
I was about to say
covering it
they
up.
just helping
They're
him
drowning
be more
it instead of
reckless.
helping him through it.
Helping
They're
him be more
drowning it.
reckless.
All fairness of it, in the woman who I actually think he loved, the Hirachi chick or whatever her name was.
Karuchi Chan.
Yeah, that was the only one I think he kind of really loved. But the rest, I mean, like,
Yeah.
what trouble has he gotten into? The only thing that has happened after that was that he got accused from some white chick, and you know what I mean?
That was false. Yeah, it was false. He wasn't even home
that was
that day.
false. I mean, other than
That was
that,
false.
and then he got accused by another white chick of doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody jumped on it until he showed the text message, and all of a sudden, nobody's got nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where's that energy when you accuse that boy, you know what I mean, of, doing something, and then when he produces...
Because in their eyes, they still see him as a bad guy, beating Rihanna up. When I'm quite sure not really what happened.
Right.
I'm quite sure it's not what happened. I can tell
Well,
you.
you guys heard Jaguar Wright's version of it, so
he whooped on him and he whooped back.
search it. She said some positive. She said some
don't
things
count
that
her
came to
out.
light.
Like don't count Kanye West. I'm telling you, they ain't lying.
She's telling the truth.
All right.
So I'm gonna start with Jazz. you want to give us your final thoughts on positive music and why you feel Black artists can no longer sell healthy relationships, commitment, and love through their music?
Because negativity sells, sex sells. You said something positive and you're Black, then I'm looking for that. They're looking for you to be as raunchy, as gangster, as speaking down on Black women and Black relationships and Black men as you can. Because we're not the ones that's backing this music. We know it. I can tell you exactly who's backing it, but I ain't gonna say it because we mess around and get blocked. But they ain't our color. They're backing this. They're funding it, and as long as they can keep us in a negative spot and sell records, that's exactly what's happening.
Yep.
I agree. So, Vic, you want to give us your final thoughts on it?
Yeah, Jazz just killed it. Because that's facts. Everything she said was facts, and I'm just gonna keep co-signing that. Yeah, everything she said was facts. However, I would also say this, that there are wonderful and beautiful, positive
Yes.
musicians out there and artists out there. It's up to the people to make sure they are heard.
Yes.
It's up to us.
Yep.
We depend on other people,
agree.
and we will continue with the nonsense we have now. Just like the popular insert this name here person, it's because you are not positive, you're not properly supporting those who are making the music you like. Support
Mhm.
them, you hear less of the others. The algorithm will dictate that to you. I swear.
Yes.
So you have to do that. Other than that, Jazz,
Thank you.
trillion% on.
Okay.
Exactly.
Heard.
I
Kira,
I
thoughts?
agree. I agree. Those are my same exact thoughts.
Yeah.
Sex sells. I'll stick, like I said, I'll stick to my stylistics, and I'll stick to my
I said to my
other
parents' music,
positive
just
views.
about.
For real,
Right.
I'll stick to my parents' music. Even like my children, like I don't hear my kids listening to it. I hear them listening. I mean, once in a blue or whatever, but my kids, they down with the stylistics and 60s and
And Mary J.
Beatles and
Blige, my
things
daughter,
like
y'all seen
that.
my
Mary J.
story, right?
Blige, can't forget about her. So yeah, I don't know.
Ain't no ski in your house. I know that's right.
No, ain't no ski, ain't no here.
Right.
So I do want to say, I know there's Black positive music out there because I listen to it. I listen
Right.
to all of those artists. I don't care. I'm the one to post that song that nobody knows. I do it quite often
Right.
on platforms. I will add a video on any of my podcasts and make sure that it's heard. I follow them on their Instagram pages. I make sure I like Brandy, Monica, Orion's son. I mean, Music
Right.
Soul Child. I even bring him back in there because I'm like, he makes
Right.
me want to lose. Chris Brown,
Absolutely.
bless you. I listen to every last one of those artists. Mary J. Blige, not so much because it's just musical talent that I go for. Tamia, I follow those people. I gotta listen to authentic music. I gotta hear somebody sing and really sing. If you could hit it a cappella, then I'm right there in your concert. You know what I
Right.
mean? I go
Right.
to those concerts. I've been to, I think, every last artist that I mentioned concert. So I'm like, there hasn't been Orion's son. I haven't been to her yet. She's in Brooklyn. I'm going to go find it. That's note to anybody that want to get me tickets or find a way to get to
Right.
Orion's son. You got some tickets for Orion's son, so look me up. But I do want to say that I know there's positive music out there, and I know that we just have to, as a people, be out there to support it. I know that the people in the offices don't look like us, and I know that there's some one or two that's in those seats. I hope that they take the opportunity to push those positive artists and really get them in play like they need to be. I can't stand someone like that look like us that's in those seats and they just say yes. I hate yes men. So
Right.
yeah, if they can actually speak up and let their voice be heard, because that's what we really need as a community and to come together. I would love to hear more of those artists versus the crap and the garbage and the sex sell music, because I know sex does sell and it's a reality. People say it all the time, oh, that's cute, but I'm not that type of person to believe that or really want to listen to that type of music.
Right.
I hope those artists see their way out of the light or the dark tunnel and find the light to actually get themselves the publicity that they need, the marketing that they need, find the right companies to market their independent albums so that way they're heard. And that's pretty much my thoughts. I
Right.
really hope it comes to fruition that they're coming to the limelight instead of being darked out or blackened out, because I know that's the industry. It's just point blank, period. So we want to go to our next topic. I love our next topic, by the way. Should marriage license expire, and what time would you recommend for it to expire? Thoughts? Who wants to go first on this one? Marriage licenses.
I've never been married. I can go because I ain't been married, but I got my opinion on it.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I can say yeah and no. I think it should expire when some type of way y'all start getting that eyes and you see it's no way of fixing this. Life is over. Like, but I don't know. Maybe a therapist should step in. Like, look, I can't say this marriage is over. It's done. Let's get this. Let's let this go. As far as expiring like that, or I don't know. It's hard because I don't want to say. I ain't gonna say nothing because for better for worse is really, to me, I always think about this. For better for worse, people don't really understand what that really means. I'm talking about if your spouse lose their limb, that's for better or that's the worst of it. If they get paralyzed from the eyes down, that's for the worst. For the best, you're thinking about, oh, money and happiness, and yeah, we get that part. But this person lose a limb or something bad happened, do you know? Can you think about that person? I don't know if I can do that. Like, can't this man in here in one piece? This nigga to be cut in half. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. I'm just like, Lord, forgive me. Work on me, Lord, because I don't know. But you know what, too? I can't really speak from a man's perspective because I'm not. But I don't think men really think about that as much as women do. Maybe I'm just that dark, like thinking dark, like a dark place. If your wife gets into an accident and lose her lower extremities, you stay. You're not. You're not. Some people do. You're not. I don't. I'm not. Sorry. I don't know what to do with that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we all just was laughing from Jazz comments. Like it's just like
I don't think it should. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't think it should expire. I mean, if it's over, it's over, or whatever. If you're gonna work it out, you're gonna work it out. I don't think that the license should expire because, first off, I believe if a marriage license has an expiration date on it, that's gonna give me a reason. Okay, our marriage expiration date coming up in what, 2 more months? Yeah, let me start a diversion so that this could really be over.
Yeah.
Well, he been acting up anyway. Bet.
For real, that's the excuse right there. Yeah. The marriage license about to be over. We about to be over. Whatever.
They like.
So I don't like. If it's gonna be over, we could sign on papers and it's just over. Whatever. I don't need an expiration date on my marriage license, so I could go renew, or I go renew them, and I really don't want to be here. But I'm
like a license, like a real license.
I'm renewing it because I want to make them happy, and I don't want to hear because I see that in a lot of relationships. Even for me, I stayed in relationships because I'm like, oh, I feel bad if I leave, or I don't want to hear the nagging. I don't want to hear the arguing. I don't want to hear the why and this and that and that. If it's over, let it be over.
Right. So let a license tell you that it's over.
That right there.
Yeah.
I want to say that I'm a hopeless romantic. So I want to believe that love is love, right? But I also know the bad parts of love. So a part of me always want to say the first year is the hardest in marriage. I don't care who you are. You got to live together. You got to be up under each other. You got to learn how each other moves. You got to learn how each other person respects each other. You got to learn their schedule. It's so much to it. You got to get on each other's health plan. It's so many things that you got to merge together. But the one thing I really liked about this was because when you go for a divorce, the money you have to pay out, the vision you have to create, the houses that you have to separate, the kids that you got to divide, all of that stuff comes into play. But if there was an easier way to divorce without having to file a divorce and actually pay a lawyer and go through all of the jurisdictions and all of this, that, and being heard and then separating your assets and the kids and, visitation, if you didn't have to go through all of that mess, mess, I would say 3 to 5 years expiration date on a marriage. That way we know we're in or we out. And it would give me a contractual agreement. Think about a contract agreement, right? At any point, a section of it could be added, could be taken out. it has to be a mutual discussion. It has to be a decision made amongst those two people that's going into this union or this bond together. Because while I would love to be living a fairy tale land and say, forever is forever, right?
Right.
I do know that we all have different temperaments. I know that as life grows, we have midlife crises and things that change us and our personalities. Who I was at 20 is not who I'm going to be at 30. Who I am at 30 is not going to be who I am at 40. Who I am at 40 is not going to be who I am at 50. Who I'm at 50 is not going to be who I'm at 60. I'm sorry, I go on and on because I know it changes. And just like a season change, my temper, my attitude, my love, my everything may change. And just like you look at me, I may look at you the same way, but this is the spies. And I'd rather we have an exit strategy than sit there and be miserable together.
Right.
And like Kira stated earlier, once you start to despise a person or not be in that same energy and connection anymore, it could turn hostile really quick. So if you have that mutual agreement, that contract in place that says, you know what, we gave this our best efforts in 3 years. We gave this our best effort in 5 years. We put our best foot forward, and unfortunately, we're not growing in the same direction anymore. We don't have the same love anymore. To me, in my life, I don't foresee that, but I'm just simply stating on a marriage license perspective, I could see why someone would want it to be 3 to 5 years. I could get why they want to avoid the messiness of a divorce. I could get why they want to avoid, this is my home. I had it before, we became together. So
it's so different.
So why would I want to now divide my assets and split it when I came in with this asset? It's so unfair just simply because I got married. I think about things like that and I say, how could you make that easier? That contractual agreement or that license expiring would give the person that cushion.
Right.
You can definitely see that. I would hope that if you have true love, that wouldn't be the real discussion that you have to have. But I know the reality is just we're all human and imperfect. And that's just maybe what plays out. So you got to guard as much as your assets as the person that you're going into this union has to, protect theirs. And that's how I look at it. I look at this marriage license discussion because if I do have to have it expire and, the trust is not there, we lose the love and respect, then what is my exit strategy? How do I go on with my life without these, negative feelings or disagreements? And that's one of the things that makes me pose that question even more so. How do we exit strategy out of this relationship without it being a mess? And that licensing expiring, like you also stated, Carrie, you stated some great points. I would be looking like 3 months left. Let's go. I can't wait for this thing to expire because we are going in different direction. And that honest dialogue and that honest conversation needs to be had because you may feel that way, but your mate may not feel that way. You have to come to, hey, are we separating when this 3 months hit? Where are we going our separate ways? Should I start looking for a place now?
Right, it's like an apartment.
Let me save my money up. Let me make sure whatever I did or secured or bought into this, I can now take out and separate. We could divide and conquer and go our separate ways mutually, and respectfully, because, to end a relationship and it just look bad and be bad and have all that toxic feelings for somebody, that's what you want to avoid. And I think that marriage license expiring just gives you an honest perception of like where we really want to be. That's just my response to it. Vic, your thoughts?
What y'all are saying makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's one part of me that wants to say, yeah, no, you should have a marriage license for 3 to 5 years. In those last 2 years, should be probationary based upon how you feel. But, there's also a part of me that kind of remembers that marriage is a lifelong commitment. So there's going to be ups and downs. If you are committed and, and the vows do say, for richer or poorer, sickness and in health, which is basically, if shit hits the fan, are you going to stay?
Yeah.
Once you say yes, you have made the commitment. The worst thing that's ever happened to families was no fault divorce, where, a partner could file for divorce and say, oh, I'm just not happy. And that's kind of not what that is for.
Right.
But it's honored in the court of law of, oh, well, irreconcilable differences. And it's like, it is not conducive to building a future for the next generation. Because I truly believe that marriage is about building for the next generation. You know, if you're not building for the next generation, for the future, then no, you don't really need to get married. You know, you can kind of just figure it out as you go along. But if you want to be married, that means that's forever. We have to
I
honor
don't,
those vows.
and people understand that. Like my mother and father they were together very, very young. Like I don't understand it, and they didn't get a chance. At least my mother did, because I know what my father was doing. That's a whole other story for another day. He didn't experience anybody else. Then he took. I would have skated on Joe. I would have skated. I would have been out. And she was like, "Oh, I stayed because of the kids." Because they had the ups and downs. Believe you me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I prefer her to skate on Joe. Why? But she stayed together because of the kids, and she did us a good. Did us a service by doing that. She absolutely did, because we saw positive, positive marriage and stuff like that. But this, no, 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 no. They said and I believe it's in the Bible and probably the Quran too. The only way you should leave your spouse is if they cheat. You cheat on me, I
Infidelity.
am out. I'm
No,
out.
that's not.
I
That's
want
not.
out. Okay, I don't know. I don't know exactly. As I'm saying, I'm not sure exactly where it's at. It's somewhere. Somebody said it's somewhere. I'm not good. I ain't into the whatever, whatever. But there's the only way you should be able to leave, because like it's for better for worse. Once you break those vows, it's over as far as you cheated.
Yeah.
I'm not. Listen. You could listen. You can play me all you want. You see how what's the old girl name on the Top Her movie? The husband cheating on her, doing all the concrete stuff. You see what happened to him? She was in that water. Stop blowing them bubbles. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles.
You're right, Charles. Bitch. It's like, no, no, no. You got one time to play with me. You're going in the
You're
water.
gonna drown in some bubbles.
You're going in the water. Because he needed
And I
her.
think that
He needed
that's
her.
exactly why I believe that type of thinking works, because I would never want it to get to that point of hostility,
Right.
right? And I think about
Right.
that because a scorned person, acts maliciously. Think
Right.
about that. A scorned person acts maliciously. So at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah,
Right.
that's really what it comes down to. A scorned person will act out, have bad behavior, is, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And I want to avoid all of that. I really want to
Right.
avoid
I
that
don't want no
negative
problems. I don't want no
interaction if
problems.
possible.
Yeah,
Right.
but in this life, you're not guaranteed that outcome. So you kind of have to, taper down those. Like you have to taper down those expectations, but at the same time, you have to remember, that's just this person.
Mhm.
Right.
The sucky part of any betrayal is the the fact that you were made a fool.
Right.
It's not even necessarily the act; it's just the fact that you are the sucker.
Yeah.
But if you're going to commit to a marriage, you have to understand that certain things, as you have interpreted them in your life, you have to find a compromise. And I'm not saying compromise for cheating. No.
Mm,
But the biggest thing that, the number one thing that divorces, what most women sign for divorce for, is financial.
Yeah.
It's got
mm.
nothing to do
Very
with
true.
with the cheating. It's basically a change in lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's marriage should be, if in a perfect world, marriage would be a 3-year contract and a 2-year probation to decide if we're going to renew this. And after those 2 years, if we come to not a certain place, then all is good and null and void. And that would eliminate family court, because then you have to actually worry about getting child support cases in there, and there are not enough to keep a family court sustained. So you have to add in no fault divorce and things of that nature.
Right.
That's exactly what I was going to touch on. Why do you think that they would not put something like that in place? Because a license, if it's set to expire, you avoid a lot of messy legal fees and court fees. And I think that's why it's monetized. There's the reason why they won't put. Notice every other license we have has an expiration date,
Yeah,
with the
I was saying that.
exception of marriage licensing. So think about that. Why would that not be something that they put in place today? What are your thoughts? What do you think
Well,
about that?
if you get rid of a marriage license, you get rid of the incentive for men to stick around, which means that you now are dealing with a custody battle. And if we're going to be fully honest, The only time a man shouldn't win a custody battle is if he's a bum. What I mean? If a man is working a full-time job and he's doing better than his, especially if he's doing better than his spouse, then he should get custody. But comprehensive, parenting would lead to both people being able to share the children in, a proper amount of time.
That court system is actually the opposite. It's so crazy you said it. If a man works a full-time job, he ain't got no time for no kids. And he'll tell you that
Right.
first and foremost,
I'm trying to tell
unfortunately.
you. I'm about to say
That's
something. I was about to
unfortunate.
say y'all can't
But
handle it.
that's an unfortunate statement. But I do know that the courts will side with the mother unless she's on drugs or
Right.
alcoholic, or if she has to be really bad in order
Right.
like to be removed from the home. And it's crazy. They award full custody to the mother maybe about 80% of the time, even though they may be both working parents. Unfortunately, the mother is always the person that benefits from that, and then given the child support, alimony, etc. So I always go back to the money component of it because I know a lot of it is financial based.
Right.
The courts don't look at a single dad and be like, yeah, you'll be a perfect parent. I don't know why. They don't look at the male and say, oh yeah, you'll be nurturing to this child and bring them up. They don't they don't do
No,
that.
they don't.
So
They don't.
shared
Not at
custody
all.
is an option, but unfortunately, because of the financial, burden that the mother takes on and keeping that child in their home, they give it to the mother, unless they really show a substantial use of those drugs or alcohol or
Right.
something. It has to be something that's ill-fitting for that mother to for the father to benefit, really.
Right.
Our country has developed a situation where mothers have to be in those sort of dire straits in order to not have sole custody. And the reason being is not so much because the men are constantly working, because in this economy, everybody's working. But it's this thing that, men are not fit nurturers for children. They figure, since women are more nurturers, it's better to have
Exactly.
on the mothers other than raised solely by their father. And the family court, they literally make their money off of, child support payments and charging men, because those are the people who are most inclined to go ahead and find a way to make some sort of money. You get those who want to get into the underground economy. Those guys are not as, numerous as most people think. But for the most part, most guys will figure, okay, well, I need 2 jobs. I need 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And I'll figure out a way to make time for my child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Unfortunately, they have us go through the courts, right? And I know from, a legal perspective that $45 to file for a divorce, right? To get a lawyer, make sure your assets are divided and properly looked at and reviewed. You have to go through court system maybe about 4 to 5 times. If not, if it's mutual, if it's mutual, 4 to 5 times. If it's not mutual and that person want to be vindictive, then you are looking about 10, 12 times in court. So think about the legal fees that you have to absorb when you go through that process and how exhausting that may be. Because you may have a journey. You may be like, okay, I want this over. But when you go back to that marriage license and it's there and there's a final document, nobody wants to do forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially when you're both miserable. And instead of somebody bowing out and be like, okay, you got a good point, I'm out of here. They like to say, good, let me see how much I'll make this bitch suffer, or how much this bitch will make me, I make this bitch pay. Especially if the woman has a higher income versus the man, or vice versa. The man has more income than the woman. So let's think about that for a second. I think that's one of the reasons why they won't put it in place, because that court fee, the legal fees, you'd be taking out a whole entire, I want to say a career profession in the court systems.
Same reason why paternity fraud is illegal, because one, you'll be driving in more income, but you'll also be taking a lot of mothers into custody.
Yep. Absolutely.
And what is the Black community other than just mothers?
Yeah.
Already locking up the sons, we're turning out the daughters. Last thing we need are to be locking up the mothers.
Mhm.
That's true. That's true. Any other thoughts? You guys want to wrap this discussion up?
Yeah, we can.
Victor, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, it's a perilous thing to be black in this country. It's probably a perilous thing to be black on the planet, but in this country, it's particulars for the peril. And we should really take our times, remove ourselves from our egos, and find out the best solutions that help us all. If we have to leave some people by the wayside, so be it. But I think as a group, these things can be conquered and it can be dealt with. Other groups go through it and they deal with it just fine. We can do the same.
Right.
Kira, thoughts?
You know me. I don't know. I mean, when you guys put it like that, the expiration does sound, it does sound good. I don't know. I don't know if I want an expiration date on my marriage license. I don't know. So
You trying to make a decision still now?
I'm trying to
You
make
want
it
to off the fence? How can you want to commit to a marriage? You can't even commit to the conversation.
for real. Like, I don't know. I guess when it happens, I
You'll
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You'll know. That man will come along and be like, sold.
For
Right.
real, rip that whole expiration date up. Like, all right, baby, this us right here. Me and you together for forever.
She gonna call me and say, delete that podcast. I ain't mean it.
Right.
I got my ball and chain right here.
Facts right there.
So
Jazz, last
that's
one left. Well, I mean, outside of mine. What are your final thoughts? Marriage license.
I think it's sad because you think about like, dang, like this person I loved and I at one time, because some people come out of it in pure hatred. But it's like, dang, it's about to be over. Like it's about to expire. That would really like, to me, like you said, like you're not sucking for love, but you believe in love and stuff like that. You don't want to be like, damn, it has to be 3 to 5 years. But the crazy part is with this, I see people together. I'm gonna say 6 months. They get their marriage annulled, and they're still together after that for years. Like, what about marriage made your relationship fall apart? It was weird to me. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of agree with that. Like, because over time you start maturing, things start happening, life start happening. Like, I want to be out because I want to be out. I don't want no funny shit. I'm about to say something. I ain't gonna say it because somebody might
Go
say
ahead,
it.
say it.
But
I can always edit it out. Go ahead. Say it, say it,
please
say it,
edit
say
it out.
it.
Like,
Do it.
I don't know because parents start getting older, parents start getting sick, parents start dying, and I don't. If I like their mother, I don't want her in my house. But when she get old, like she had that same energy that you had at our wedding that you wanted to get married. 5 years later, I live in my house with me. No, ma'am. She going into the home. To the home. So I don't want to do that to her. Though. So this marriage is over. So it's a lot. It's a lot when it comes to marriage. I don't think I want. I don't know if I want to be married much as I wanted to. I don't know. It's so much. Like I'm learning. So I don't know. 3 to 5 years, I guess. I guess it's hurtful though.
5
Like
years.
Little fun fact. Not actually fun, but kind of a sad fact. The average black marriage only lasts 5 years,
I guess, yeah.
according to the CDC.
Yeah.
CDC. Why did it? That's the Center for Disease Control.
Yeah,
So maybe I'm.
they do quite a bit of human studies. I
Surveys.
mean, you'd be amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They
That's
do.
interesting.
Yeah.
Never really did that.
Yeah. So I want to get my final thoughts because there's pros and cons to everything in life and every situation that we have. The pro is love, right? That's what we're
Right.
hoping to go
Absolutely.
for
That's
forever
what
in
I'm in it
love,
for.
right?
I'm
Forever
in it
in
for.
love. We really want that. Once you find your person, you want to believe that this is it. This is this journey, and I never have to go down this dark alleyway again. However, life is approaching. You know what I mean? You just have different things that you experience. And I say with that, that's where the cons enter. And whenever you feel overwhelmed and you can't take this on, or you feel the responsibility is getting worse, that's when we actually roll up our sleeves and say, we're going to continue on this journey, or we, are out. So part of me says 3 to 5, could be a great, expiration date. But then if I go 5 years with somebody, I might as well just serve the bid, look at your age in life. Most of
Okay.
our Black people don't get married at a young age. If you did get married at a young age, you probably already passed that journey where you've gotten divorced or separated and can't even find that person to follow through with a divorce, or proceed with a divorce because it's now financial and you to go through that turmoil is like, a whole nother cost. But I want to say survival of our people is what is the most important. If you actually ever see a Black family together,
I
it
love
has
it.
a hint of pride behind it. You see the father, he's the protector and the provider. And I just think about my childhood. I go back because I know we talked about
Right.
that. I think about my father and my mother and, us 4 kids, just sitting and hanging out, dad paying the bill and taking care of home. And a part of me has such great pride in that story because that's what I hoped and wished all of my years, get into this journey of, my age, that we would be able to find, and I mean, just not me, but men and women would be able to find their person. Because I think somebody's out there for everybody. Find that person and settle down and really be able to be locked in. Because when you see love, Black love especially, it's so magical, it's so endearing, it's so much behind it. There's so much passion built behind it. But I know that's life, right? It could throw things at us that we just not prepared for. Sickness, someone passes away, someone, something happened. Life is life's journey. So I want to say, while I want to say a marriage license is good, I also want to say if I commit 3 to 5 years to somebody, I'm sold.
Right.
I'm sold. By that point, they know me and I know them, and my
Right.
heart is in it, and it's gonna be hard to get my heart out of that,
Right.
But that's constant conversation and constant negotiation and constant compromise to get to that journey and make it continuous and forever. So I think that's what the most important piece of it is, that everybody tends to forget when that forever to death do us part type of conversation. And it's unfortunate that, people forget. People forget
Right.
that most important piece.
Right.
I can only hope that we all have that journey and find it at the end of the day. What is it? Silver lining, at the
Right.
end. So hopefully we get to that silver lining. Any further thoughts or items you
that's
want to
it.
discuss?
Black love is awesome. Black love is awesome.
Black love is
100%.
awesome.
That's
Absolutely.
last thing I gotta say.
That's all I gotta say too. I agree with that statement. I concur. Black
think
love
that's
can be awesome. What'd you say,
I
Kira?
concur also. I attest to it.
You attest to it.
And can I
So
also say
funny.
something on a positive note? Black men, I love you.
That's
There
right.
we go.
Yes.
That right there. There we
you
go, right there.
There we go. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you for joining us. Again, we are the Grown Up Group with Kira, Victor, Jazz, and me, Ty. Please share, like, and subscribe. Love and peace. And again, thank you.
Good night.
Everybody do the shoulders.
Bye.
Do the
Bye.
shoulders before we go. Shoulders.
Shimmy,
Shoulders.
shimmy, shoulders, shimmy, shoulders, shimmy, shoulders. That looked like too much
Shoulders.
boob, Jazz. That looked like too much boob.
It was, oh man, that's that
Oh,
sex self.
Lord. I asked
Right,
for
right.
shoulders. You gave me OnlyFans. There we go.